Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're having a very good day. So it's the end of December, it's the end of the year, time to do my December book reviews. There's going to be a lot of them. I'm just gonna try to make them short, sweet, simple, to the point, and less of this rambling stuff. So let's get started. So the first book I read this month is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Mortal Instruments series. So let's talk about what City of Bones is all about. Our main character is Clary Frey. The story begins with her attending this all-ages club with her best friend Simon, and she witnesses something pretty horrific. These three hooligans attack this other kid, and as the story progresses though, we find out they aren't hooligans. Maybe they kind of are. They're shadow hunters, and shadow hunters keep downworlders in check: werewolves, vampires, fairies. They also eliminate demons. As the story progresses, we find out why Clary is able to see these shadow hunters. Clary is definitely different, and that's basically what City of Bones is all about. Clary figuring out who she is and how she is mixed up in this really crazy battle between shadow hunters and demons. Next guys, let's talk about the characters. My feelings for the characters pretty much have stayed the same since I last read it. Oh, typical Jace. Classic Simon. Clary. I could really sum up the main characters as spunky, sassy, and fun. Clary, our female protagonist, I would say she's my least favorite character in the series. She does have her flaws. She can be a bit annoying. She's pretty dense. A little bit, just kind of. And Simon, I love his character. He is so cute. He's super funny. I empathize and sympathize with his character a whole lot. And as for someone who doesn't have powers or able to see, you know, downworlders or demon, he holds his own. He's definitely an underdog character, which is why I adore him so. Overall, I think the characters are just really fun to read about. There's lots of tension and aggression and drama. Next guys, let's talk about the plot of City of Bones. Setting takes place in New York City. A really cool setting. Definitely want to go there someday. There's a lot of action sequences, lots of adventure going on. You know, there are great amounts of different characters in City of Bones to make the plot really interesting. And of course, we have to mention the romantic tension, the romance aspect in the Mortal Instruments series. There is a love triangle in the Mortal Instruments, but for me personally, it's not the best love triangle that I've read before. I think in the Infernal Devices, Cassandra Clare does it much better in that series. But still, it's a lot of fun to read about. What drives the story forward are these really cool characters getting into really sticky situations, obstacle after the other, and there's a lot of mystery surrounding certain characters. And as far as the writing is concerned, great narrative, I think, balances out the dialogue. As for the dialogue, there's a lot of sarcasm, that kind of sense of humor being thrown about within the series, which I adore and love. But for the most part, I think there's a good pacing throughout the book. So with that being said guys, I'm going to give City of Bones by Cassandra Clare 4 stars out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Just lots of fun, really entertaining, I find. I really enjoy all of the books throughout this series, so if you're worried about how long the series is, do not fret. I really enjoy each of the other books. So my next book review for you guys is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Let's get started with what the book is all about. So our main character is Nick Carraway. He meets up with his cousin, Daisy, as well as her husband, Tom Buchanan. And as the story unfolds, Nick Carraway is invited to the lavish, extravagant parties of Jay Gatsby, his next door neighbor. And as you keep reading along, you find out how Nick Carraway is connected to these different people. You know, really dramatic, really intriguing. Next guys, let's talk about the characters of The Great Gatsby. I've been told that the characters within this book are less than admirable. I didn't mind that they were dislikable, that they had flaws, glaring flaws. Their character just added to the drama and, you know, to the whole plot, which is fine. Nick Carraway is definitely the middleman, the in-betweener between the Buchanans and Jay Gatsby. You're definitely in the shoes of Nick Carraway, observing everything, you know, being put into awkward situations. You're kind of on this roller coaster ride along with him. Tom Buchanan, horrible person, having his dirty laundry out there for everyone to see. It's horrible, but you know, his character lends to the progression of the plot, of course. And of course there is Jay Gatsby, the guy who throws the lavish, amazing, extravagant parties. I really empathize and sympathize with Gatsby, especially with what he was trying to achieve. Was he trying to reach an unreachable dream? You know, more money, more problems. Next guys, let's talk about the plot of The Great Gatsby. I thought it was a very steady-paced book. You know, while reading this book, different emotions were coming up as the story progressed. There were moments of uncomfortableness, happiness, then intrigue, then more uncomfortableness and awkwardness, and then just tragedy. Just tragic at the end, just a lot of personal conflicts between different characters. Let me just tell you that scene with Great Gatsby and Daisy, their interaction and how that all came about was awesome. I don't know if it was supposed to be intentionally funny and awkward, but to me while reading that, it was so great. Definitely high up there with Mr. Collins and Elizabeth Bennet. That awkward situation there, Daisy, Caraway, and Gatsby, really high up there on the awkward scale. And lastly guys, I want to talk about the different themes, symbols, motifs going on in the Great Gatsby. Reading classics outside of a, you know, classroom environment, I'm always worried I might not pick up on the subtleties of symbolism and different themes. I've been told time and time again about the green light, which is fantastic. Really empathize with Jay Gatsby on that one. I thought it was really thought-provoking and very meaningful, but by the end of the book I was thinking there must be something more, something I didn't pick up along the way because people love the Great Gatsby so, and so I checked out John Green's videos, and by the end you had to pick up my jaw off from the floor because I was in awe of how John Green relayed the symbolism and different themes going on within the Great Gatsby. It was like mind-blowing. Classic John Green. Makes learning always fun. So the Great Gatsby definitely would benefit from a classroom discussion. Definitely a great book to read during school, to do a book report on. Really great commentary during this era, 1920s, 1930s. Thought-provoking aspects to dwell upon. So with that being said guys, I'm going to give The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald 4 stars out of 5. I really like the read. Really dramatic, really tragic. Did not expect the ending at all. So my next book review for you guys is Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion. Thank you to everyone who commented whether this book was placed in the adult fiction section or the young adult section. I noticed the wording on the cover, a novel. Usually that indicates it's an adult fiction book. Even so, I think young adults would enjoy this read as well. There's some cursing and there's some mature content within the read, but nothing new that I haven't encountered before in the young adult genre. So whoever you are, if you like zombies and awesomeness, you'd probably enjoy this read. So first guys, let's talk about what Warm Bodies is all about. Our main character is R. He's a zombie. He goes about his day-to-day dead life, shuffling around, grunting, shrugging, you know, meeting up with his friend M. Of course, he goes on food runs. He goes and attacks humans and eats their brain. And when a zombie eats a person's brain, there's this moment where they kind of relive their life, kind of their memories, and kind of experience being alive again. This one particular instance, R eats the brain of a young man kind of in his early 20s, and there's something different about eating this guy's brain. After he eats his memories, it kind of stays with him. There's this other young woman with him that is terrified. She's about to be attacked, so R decides to protect her. That's basically where the plot takes off. A lot more things happen after that, which is awesome. So let's talk about the characters in Warm Bodies. Oh my goodness, I love R. You know, it doesn't hurt to think of Nicholas Hoult while reading this book. He is the actor who plays R in the movie that is coming out next year, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, Nicholas Hoult is so cute. You know, there are a few books where there are certain characters where they have a really distinct voice. R is one of them. The zombies in this world, they do have thoughts, they do think, and they do have interactions and relationships with different other zombies. So it's really interesting to see R's progression after eating this young person's brain and seeing this need to protect this woman, Julie. He's just very likable, very sweet. And there's of course Julie. I thought she reacted to her situation very well, to being protected by a zombie and interacting with him. She definitely has a darker backstory to her character. She had to face a lot of things, endure a lot of things. She also kind of represents this hope and belief that things will change and things will become better. On the opposite end of that, we have the Bonies, represent hopelessness, that things are the way they are and that's how it's always going to be. And so it's really great to see these two different characters come against this really foul antagonist, and it's, you know, the battle between hope and humanity and everything that's good and evil, and it was just really great to read about. Next class, let's talk about the plot of Warm Bodies. I thought the progression of the plot was really great. I think what really kept this story moving moving forward is the relationship between R and Julie. I love reading about those two characters and see how it was going to work, because it's really weird between a zombie and a human, and it's like, how is this gonna work? How it all unfolded was pretty cool. Lovely tension, really funny to read about as well. My only thing about Warm Bodies that I wasn't too keen about was the ending. The ending was open-ended, kind of concluded, but how it wrapped up, the specifics was unsatisfactory to me, if that makes sense. I wanted just more from the conclusion. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to give Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion 4.5 out of 5 stars. I was kind of thinking a bit there. You know, I just missed that 5 out of 5 mark because of the ending. It didn't give me that conclusive, satisfying ending that I wanted, but overall, just love the characters, love the plot progression. It was very sweet, very thoughtful, thought-provoking. I cannot wait for the movie adaptation. It looks super sweet. Every time I read Warm Bodies, I had to watch the movie trailer because, you know, Nicholas Hoult. My next book review, guys, is Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. This is the first book in the study series. I adore this book, so oh my goodness. I adore A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones, and so if you're looking for a series maybe to wet your feet a little bit before you know, take on the craziness and awesomeness that is A Song of Ice and Fire, I think Poison Study is a good step to take. The world is nice and concentrated. It's not too big and overwhelming. There's some magical, fantastical elements. It's kind of a low fantasy series, I believe. I, of course, haven't read the other 2 books, so I don't know if it ramps up in the fantastical elements, but right now it's really grounded in reality. So anyways, let's get started with what the story is all about. Our main character is Yelena, and she's been convicted of murder. She was thrown into the dungeon for a very, very long time. The day of her execution, though, she is taken to Valak, and he offers her good news, somewhat good news. If she chooses, she can become the next poison taster for the commander. Of course, from the title of the book, from the length of the book, Yelena chooses food taster. And so the story takes on from there. Next, guys, let's talk about the characters of Poison Study. Love the characters, love all the characters. They were so great. Yelena is a really great female protagonist, I felt. She's really strong. She's on the balls of her feet, trying to figure out, always thinking how she'll get out of a situation. We get to know more about Yelena's backstory, why she did what she did. You really sympathize and empathize with her character. I think she develops and progresses as a character really well. She's always on the balls of her feet, trying to figure out what the next move is. She's trying to find out who she is, where she came from, why she has the abilities that she does. Next, guys, I want to talk about Valak, the guy who offered her this second chance. He's really great. One of my new favorite male characters. He's the guy to show Yelena the ropes of what poisons are what, how to recognize different poisons. I had mad respect for Valak, what he does. Very professional, very straight-laced kind of character. See the interaction and relationship grow between Valak and Yelena was really fun to see. Also, the side characters, love the side characters. There's Ari and Janko, the antagonists as well. Very interesting to read about. Very sly and mysterious and very dangerous. Just well-rounded characters, and I just couldn't wait to read more and more about them, which is really good. Next, guys, let's talk about the plot of Poison Study. I thought the plot really took off from the very first chapter. Lots of mystery, intrigue, drama amongst the characters. Yelena doesn't know who to trust. Definitely considered an underdog. It was just really great to see Yelena overcome these different obstacles and these different conflicts. And of course, there is some romance, underlying subtle romance going on between Yelena and possibly different characters. You know, the romance is very low-key. Definitely a secondary, maybe even tertiary factor within the story, which I really liked. It really focused on Yelena finding out more about herself and her trying to stay alive. The romantic element was a really nice touch, really added that little something something to the story, which I really liked. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to give Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder 5 stars out of 5. I really enjoyed the book. The timeline of the book doesn't take place day by day. It takes over a span of several months, which is really good. Definitely adds to how relationships are formed. So definitely check this out, guys. Really great read. My next book review for you guys is Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Infernal Devices series. Because it's a sequel, I'll be kind of vague with the plot synopsis. In Clockwork Prince, Charlotte's position at the London Institute is being challenged, and so she has has 2 weeks to figure out where the antagonist Mortmain is, or she's threatened to be kicked out of her position. Next guys, let's talk about the characters of Clockwork Prince. I love the characters in this series. I think they're very realistic. You know, I wasn't rolling my eyes or shaking my head at certain characters because they are being stupid, which is always good. Let's talk about Tessa Gray. Even though, you know, she has to figure out who she is, what she is. The majority of this book, she has boy problems. Oh, the joy of boy problems. I think Cassandra Clare really executes love triangles very well in this series. Lots of surprising and twisty elements thrown into the story, which is really great. And I feel for Tessa. I honestly do not know what I would have done in her situation because it's tough. Next guys, let's talk about Will. We get to know a lot more about Will's backstory than in the first book, Clockwork Angel. We get to see why he's so, you know, the way he is. So my heart goes out to Will, and I just feel so bad for him. Will, just expand your circle. If you're looking for girls who read as well as make you laugh, you know, just widen that circle a bit. Also, Jem's character, he's lovely as per usual, very sweet. I still feel for him. Like in the last book, you don't know how his character, where his character is gonna go, and how things will end or begin with him. And let's talk about the side characters because I love the side characters. We have Charlotte and Henry. We also have Sophie and Gideon. Lovely characters to read about. Just really great to read about the relationship aspects during this time period, what these women have to go through, the obstacles and the difficulties of being a woman during this time. And I thought all of the female characters really took it in stride and did what they had to do and took the bull by its horns, and it was really great. I love the characters in Cassandra Clare's work because they're just so fun to read about, and yeah. Next guys, let's talk about the plot of Clockwork Prince. Will's subplot is awesome. We got to find more about his backstory, what he has to deal with, what he has to overcome. It's insane how all that concluded. Again, my heart goes out to you, Will. City of Fallen Angels in this book, I don't know what it is. I felt it was maybe running too long. I don't know, I felt like, man, I'm going through this slower than I usually do with other books, so maybe it is long, I have no idea. I think there's a good balance between the action and the more downtime character development aspects of the book, which is really good. So that being said guys, I'm going to give Clockwork Prince 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed the book. It was less steampunky actually than the first book. It had more of a Mortal Instrument vibe with the demons and the vampires, warlocks, magic kind of deal. Overall, a really great sequel to the Infernal Devices series. So my next review guys is The Tales of Beedle the Bard by J.K. Rowling. Read this book in an hour, super quick. Loved all of the different stories in The Tales of Beedle the Bard. My favorite story would have to be The Tale of the Three Brothers. My second one, The Fountain of Fair Fortune. The third one, The Warlocks, Harry Hart. The fourth one, The Wizard and the Hopping Pot. And the last one, Ron's favorite, Babbity Rabbity and the Cackling Stump. I thought all of the different stories had a very grim fairy tale, you know, feeling to them. They had a moral slash kind of lesson at the end of the story. It was dark. It was gruesome. The Harry Hart one surprised me with how gruesome it was. After each story, Dumbledore gets into his interpretation of each of the story and what it meant. So that's always helpful. With that being said, guys, I'm going to give The Tales of Beedle the Bard 4 stars out of 5. You know, there needs to be more stories like these. If you enjoy Harry Potter, this is a really great addition to the collection, so definitely check this out. And lastly guys, topping my 50 book challenge, we have Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by J.K. Rowling. So what consists of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them? We have a foreword from Dumbledore, an intro by Newt Scamander, and then we just have an alphabetical listing of all the different beasts, and a very interesting read. Definitely felt kind of textbook-y. I think I was more interested with the really dangerous beast, but you know, that's just me. You know what I think would really benefit in the 53rd edition of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is illustrations. Love illustrations. Illustrations of these different beasts would be very handy, make the read more interesting and take the book to another level, I think. With that being said guys, I'm going to give Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 3 stars out of 5. Yeah, yeah, not bad, not bad. So guys, those are all of my reviews for December. For the most part, I really enjoyed all of the reads this month. Definitely check them out. I'm very excited for 2013. My top 12 books of 2012 as well as my 2013 resolutions will be coming up soon in the new year most likely. And everyone, good job, good job. Good job to everyone who had a fantastic reading year. I hope you read some really great books. I will talk to you later. Bye.